The recess monitor punished my daughter for the same thing every single day. The other kids' videos exposed the truth. My 10-year-old daughter Mia came home with grass stains on her knees and tear tracks down her cheeks for the 16th day in a row. Her lunchbox clattered onto the kitchen counter and she ran straight to her room. I heard her door slam so hard the family photos on the wall shook. I climbed the stairs 2 at a time and knocked on her door gently. She told me to go away, but her voice cracked on the last word. I pushed the door open anyway and found her face down on her comforter. Her shoulders were heaving with silent sobs that made my heart crack. I sat on the edge of her bed and rubbed circles on her back. She flinched but didn't pull away this time. I noticed her right elbow had a fresh scrape with dried blood around the edges. Her fingernails were caked with dirt like she had been digging in the ground. I asked her what happened at recess and she just shook her head into her pillow. The silence in that room felt heavier than concrete. I went downstairs and grabbed my laptop from the living room table. My fingers flew across the keyboard as I typed an email to Principal Hawkins. I explained that Mia had been coming home upset every single day for over 2 weeks. The school's automatic reply pinged back immediately saying he was out of office. I slammed my laptop shut and the sound echoed through the kitchen. My husband Derek walked in from the garage wiping grease from his hands. I showed him the scrape on Mia's elbow and his jaw tightened visibly. He pulled out his phone and scrolled to the school's main number. The call went straight to voicemail because it was after 4 o'clock. I heard Mia's footsteps creaking above us as she paced her room. Derek threw his rag onto the counter and his face was turning red. My phone buzzed with a text from another mom asking if Mia was okay. Then another text came through from a different parent with the same question. Something was happening at that school that we didn't know about yet. The next morning, I drove Mia to school and watched her drag her feet toward the entrance. I convinced myself she was just having trouble with a friend or struggling in a class. Kids went through phases and Mia had always been sensitive to conflict. I pulled away from the drop-off lane and headed to my office downtown. My phone sat silent on my desk all morning, which I took as a good sign. I ate lunch at my computer and scrolled through work emails without really reading them. At 2:30, I got a notification from the school app saying Mia had been sent to the office. The reason listed was disruptive behavior during recess. My coffee mug slipped from my hand and splashed across my keyboard. I grabbed paper towels and dabbed at the mess with shaking fingers. The office note said this was her 12th infraction this month. 12 infractions and nobody had called me once. I pulled up Mia's school portal and found a discipline log I had never seen before. Every single entry was signed by the same recess monitor named Mrs. Bellingham. I left work early and drove straight to the elementary school with my hands gripping the wheel. The front office secretary looked up when I burst through the doors. I demanded to see the principal and she pointed toward his office with wide eyes. Principal Hawkins stood up from his desk when I barged in without knocking. I slapped down a printout of Mia's discipline record and asked why I was never informed. He glanced at the papers and his eyebrows furrowed in confusion. He turned his computer screen toward me and showed a different log. His version only showed 2 minor incidents all semester. I pulled out my phone and showed him the 12 entries. He picked up his desk phone and called the attendance office. His face went pale as he listened. She altered the parent portal records. He hung up and grabbed his keys from the drawer. We walked together toward the playground where recess was already in progress. I spotted Mia sitting alone on a bench near the fence while other kids played around her. Mrs. Bellingham stood in the center of the playground with her arms crossed. She blew her whistle and pointed directly at my daughter. Mia flinched and started walking toward the timeout area with her head down. I started running across the grass and Principal Hawkins shouted for me to wait. A group of 5th graders near the swings were holding up their phones and recording everything. Mrs. Bellingham grabbed Mia's arm and yanked her toward the building. I screamed for her to let go of my daughter. The recess monitor spun around and her face twisted with surprise. Other kids scattered away from the commotion like startled birds. Mia broke free and ran straight into my arms. I could feel her whole body trembling against my chest. Principal Hawkins caught up and demanded to see Mrs. Bellingham in his office immediately. The videos from those 5th graders showed everything we needed to see. Mrs. Bellingham had been targeting Mia specifically for weeks while ignoring identical behavior from other students. She would invent violations and physically drag my daughter to timeout while other kids watched and laughed. One video showed her shoving Mia hard enough to make her fall onto the concrete. The footage went viral in our town within 48 hours. Parents flooded the school board meeting demanding answers and accountability. Mrs. Bellingham had worked there for 11 years and targeted 17 different students over time. She was terminated immediately and charged with assault on a minor. The district paid for Mia's therapy sessions and rewrote their entire playground supervision policy. 3 other families filed civil suits that are still pending in court. Mia finally smiled again when she heard Mrs. Bellingham could never work with children anymore. I framed one of her new happy photos and hung it right where she could see it every morning.